Hey everyone, it's Michael, GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I have finally finished up the Goosebumps Most Wanted books. I only had like 3 or 4 or 5. It took me a couple of months to get them wrapped up with the kitchen renovation going on and whatnot, and how much little sleep I'm getting because of everything going on in my life with work and whatnot too. But I finally finished up the Most Wanted books. I want to take a break and read something enjoyable, and typically what I do when I want to read something more enjoyable and have a break from the typical standardized Goosebumps book that's typically like 115 to 150 pages long, regular old novel, novelette, whatever. Typically I'll go to one of their series called Give Yourself Goosebumps. I decided to do that this time around to take a little bit of a break from the regular storytelling. And this one I picked up this time around was Give Yourself Goosebumps number 13, Scream of the Evil Genie. And I've always had covers from Goosebumps that I've looked at, and I've not really processed what I'm looking at, you know? For example, this cover. There's smoke, and there's eyeballs inside of that smoke. I never realized they were female eyes, because as I read the story, I realized why. And I also didn't realize that they were in a neighborhood with a fence and whatnot, and I also didn't realize that this was coming out of a can. Yeah, not a bottle, but a can. So, what's the deal with Scream of the Evil Genie? Number one, this is a good book. I really dug it. I really recommend it if you haven't read this one. It's a little bit easier to get your hands on compared to a lot of GYG books out there. You'll find this one pretty commonly on eBay, just like the original one. I forgot what the first book of GYG was, but you'll find that out there pretty commonly too in book lots and people listing Goosebumps books out there. Pretty cool cover. I like that. The book itself I really enjoyed. I had a really good time. I actually don't think there was anything in here I didn't like. I enjoyed pretty much the entire book. It was a fun ride. It was a fun adventure. Kind of close to home, not really huge adventurous going out in the woods or forests or anything like that kind of storyline. Essentially, you are a kid who comes home, eats a bunch of junk food because nobody's home, and you crack open a can of cola, and a genie comes out of the cola. And she is named Jenna the Genie. And she can grant you 3 wishes, but she's not your typical genie. She's not Robin Williams in a blue outfit. She is a punk rocker 1990s gothic chick, and she has like a mohawk or spiked hair or something like that. Her appearance changes every time you talk to her and crack open a new can of cola. Jenna was an interesting character. I liked her, and of course this book is making you the main character of the book, so you read it in like a second person or whatever it is format, and this is a game book. If you don't know what that is, it's a choose-your-own-adventure book, and if you don't know what that is, basically you read the book, for people who don't know. Like after the first 5 or 6 pages, it basically will tell you to go to the bottom of the page and turn to whatever choice you make. So for example, you might make a choice to do this action, and it might tell you to go over to page 10. Or you might choose option number 2, and you might go over to page 115. You're not reading through the book page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so on, in order. You're not doing that. Now, I personally use a lot of bookmarks. I read the entire book, because I like to know about the entire book before I talk about it. There's like 20 different endings to this, and I enjoyed pretty much every ending in here. I didn't hate any of them. I didn't despise any of them. I had a good time reading this entire book, which surprised me, because the last couple of GYG books I've had some complaints with, some nitpicks with. But I had a good time from beginning to end this time around. This was a fun read. I recommend it if you haven't read it before. Let's see. What else is there to really say about this as a precursor? The story of the genie thing. Yeah, like I said, you have 3 wishes from Jenna. And the main choices you kind of start the book off with, of course, a lot of these GYG books start off with you making a decision. You go left or right on a path, you know what I mean? And it takes you through half the book in one path, half the book through the other path, right? And it might branch off to these different subplots, introduce different characters, different villains, monsters, all that other good stuff. You might end up on an island at different parts of the book. This one doesn't really do that. This one is very different in that respect. You actually start the book with kind of 4 or 5 different options that are really developed. I'm very surprised, except for one of the 4. And you kind of start off in a place where, and this was interesting to me, you start off in a place with the idea of these 4 different options you could pick. One of them is like, you want to be rich. And it kind of shows you the exploits of, if you become rich, most of the book is focused on the storyline about how people like use you and people try to steal from you. Even if you're generous at heart with this blessing of money, it's, you know, people are going to use you. You're going to use it for the wrong purposes. If you're too generous, people are going to take exploitation out of that. That was an interesting point made in here. You know, there's a lot of that being hit over the head over and over again. Another option is that you can choose to be the most good-looking kid on the entire planet. And I'm a grown man. I didn't want to choose that option, but I did because I did it for you guys, frankly. That option I don't think lasted very long at all. I think it was like maybe 5 or 10 pages of the book were focused towards that, but the rest of the other 3 options were extremely focused and developed. But yeah, you have a lot of different options like that on the typical wishes that people make. Now, one of the options was actually you don't wish for any of those things, and there's actually like a misunderstanding on a wish that you make when you turn to those particular chapters in the book. And it was a fun read. It had a lot of creativity to it. That's kind of what I look for with game books when I read those, whether it be the Choose Your Own Adventure series, whether it be the Give Yourself Goosebumps book series. I like seeing creativity and how they do something differently from what I typically expect. Now, Stein's a master at that. Whether he wrote this or not is one thing to talk about and discuss and debate. I don't really care who wrote it. It's a good read. I recommend it. I had a good time. Jenna the Genie was fun. I liked her as a character. I liked her whole punk rock attitude and aesthetic. I liked how every time you make a wish and you talk to her, not only her appearance has changed, but her attitude changes. She gets even more hateful and mean and edgy. That stuff was fun. That stuff was different from what I expected. It was odd. It was a different type of Goosebumps book that I haven't ever really heard anybody make this kind of movie based on this type of thing, or this kind of idea. It's very 1990s. Very 1990s. For example, at one point you're so rich and you're buying gifts for your family and you buy your brother a CD Walkman. Yeah. A Walkman. But I really enjoyed the book. I had a good time with it. I don't really have anything else to tell you about it. It was a fun read, and I recommend it if you haven't read it before. It's an easy one to get your hands on, too, so it's a good read. If you want a recommendation for something to get one of your kids for Christmas or something, this is a good one to pick up for them. It's something they may have never seen or ever heard of before. So anyway, when it comes to Goosebumps, or Give Yourself Goosebumps, number 13, Scream of the Evil Genie, I recommend the book. I really liked it. Having the idea of a genie coming out of a can of cola is pretty fun, and you having to go look for that cola bottle, or can, throughout the book is pretty fun, too. I really dig that. I recommend the book. It was a good time. That's all I ask for these books and for Stein books in general, or just anything I read from anybody. It was a good time. I really dug this one. It's not one of my favorites, but it was a good one. It was a mild, decent, fun read. Lots of creativity, which was really enjoyable for this. And if I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I would probably give it about I want to give it higher than this, but I just can't justify it. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars, which is still a positive review. I think a 3 out of 5, it's personally, to me, above average. You know, that's kind of an average rating, but I think it's above that. I just don't think it deserves a 4, frankly. I like it a lot. Really solid read, really surprising read, and kind of a different... just a different feeling compared to what I've been reading recently with a lot of the Most Wanted books, and a lot of those have been kind of downers or not so funny comedy type books and stuff. So this was different, and I was happy and appreciative of that. Really changed up the formula for me a little bit. I kind of want to read one more Give Yourself Goosebumps book before I do any more book reviews, but I don't know. I'm kind of meandering around on what to read next. I'm hitting that point in my collection and in my channel with Goosebumps reviews that I'm like, you know, I've read all the big stuff. I've read all the Monster Blood books that people want to hear about. I've read all the Slappy books people want to hear about. I've read all the newer books that have been out for 10, 15 years now. So I'm really kind of hitting on old material and stuff that I haven't read from the classic series, from the TV books. The Series 2000 is a lot of what people want to hear about too, but I kind of don't want to just hit the channel with a ton of Series 2000 book reviews. I have a lot of different things I want to cover right now. So I'm going to work my way around on that for a little bit. But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm taking my time on what I want to read and what I want to talk about, what kind of videos I want to make, stuff like that for the reviews for you guys. So I hope in 2022 I can kind of change things around a little bit and do more content for you guys. I know I promised that last year. It didn't work out at all. With the renovation right now, it's kind of in the way. I can't really do it as much as I want to right now, but I'm trying my best. I'll try to get more out for you guys this year. I really want to do a lot more content for you because you guys deserve it. You've been super helpful to me and super faithful to the channel, and you've been super loving and caring to me and my wife. So, with that being said, check out this book, and I may or may not do another GYG book is what my whole point of that spiel was. Immediately after this review, I mean. But I don't know. I'll see. We'll see on the next review maybe in a week or so. We'll see. Anyway, put your thoughts and comments down below on Scream of the Evil Genie down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'd love to hear all that down below too. Thank you for watching. God bless you guys, and goodbye.